Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here with the marvelous Cornet. This is a King Silversonic from the marvelous year of 1960. Let me just say, great people were born in 1960. Okay, lovely horn here. See if we can get the logo where you can see it and the reflection's not too bad. King Silveronic. I've had, probably 4 of these cornets, 5 trumpets, maybe 6 or 7, mostly silver tone trumpets, mostly Silversonic cornets. Isn't that interesting? At any rate, we're going to get right into it. I heard a Chet Baker song here a few days ago, Summertime. I cannot get that song out of my mind. Whistling it in the grocery store, practicing it on the horn. Won't be long before my family bans it. That's all they get to hear. But we'll just try this with a a little cheater mouthpiece here that I think gives us a Chet Baker tone, Chet Baker-ish tone. If I just had the fingering, the chops, maybe would sound a little bit more like him. Hope you enjoyed this. We've got several mouthpieces. I've got an original King I'm going to use, some great curry pieces, so hang around. Great, just great. The great mouthpiece by Curry. This is a vintage cornet, and it's a little bit shorter than most of the modern cornet pieces, as you can see here. And it just yields a breathy tone. Marvelous mouthpiece. I really do like that. People that don't like the breathy tone are less fond of it. Okay, I'm going to come back to a cornet mouthpiece that would help you out if you wanted to play this in a British brass band. But let me start at the other end of the spectrum. Here I've got a Reeves cornet, been hollowed out just a little bit. Definitely a individual has done some work on this. Nice piece. This is the brighter sound if you wanted to play Dixieland like Bix Beiderbecke. All right, as I mentioned, that was a Reeves piece. Just a little information on the horn. Probably made very close to 60. I think they started making this in the late 50s, this particular model. Silver tones were made prior to this. Just can't get over how nice that engraving is. I started to say I've had several of these cornets and trumpets, and the sterling silver bell, which does give a very unique sound, it holds the logo so well. I'm sure they've all had wear. This is just about bare brass. You might find a spot or 2 of lacquer on it, but not much, and not by my making. It's just the way it's worn off. And I think the lacquer usually on the sterling silver looked a little rough after a bit. Okay, bore size is 0.458, so 458 thousandths of an inch. The bell is 4.625, so a little smaller than the 4 3/4, 4.8 that we see on a lot of trumpets. Definitely can give it a nice projection. Okay, let's go to the King mouthpiece, and it's just marked a King MC. Feels to me about like a 7. I don't think it's any smaller than that. Could be a tad larger. The mouthpiece is pretty well worn. The brass is showing on a few places. You wouldn't want to eat this. Brass is not good for you. Wouldn't want to lick it a whole lot. Playing it just a little bit like I'm going to do, I don't think will hurt me from practicing earlier today, but we'll see. Nice, little deeper mouthpiece than I expected. Kind of a shallow V is probably the way I would describe this. Again, a little bit of a breathy tone, not quite so deep as the vintage Cornet, not quite so large a drill size, but nice sound. Still learning the song, sorry about that. The times you least want to make mistakes. Okay, I'm going to go to another mouthpiece before I do Curry's British Brass Band, BBC. We're going to do his 7DC. I think he calls this his Deep C. Really nice tone for the cornet. Okay, and we'll go directly to a great piece, a lot of depth here, and I forget what the drill size on this. It's either a 18, 19, 20, significantly deep, and a nice deep V as well, but it gets still a stronger tone than the vintage cornet, which, again, as I said, mentions or gets a lot of breathy feel to it. All right, once again, marvelous cornet, the King Silversonic Master Cornet. I think this is the model 1065S. Great little horn. Oh, one thing I meant to show. It's the micro tuner. Con used this for a little while, and you've got a little threaded piece here that will either bring the main tuning slide in incrementally or send it out, either way, but it is so nice. Again, if you've ever had a tuning slide and go to tune it and you pull it and it jumps out, a quarter of an inch and you just want it out just a little bit. But with these micro tuners, I really wish they did things like this more often on horns today. Valve action on this horn is really, really nice. Small stroke valves. Just a magnificent cornet. Zig Canstill, of course, worked with, I think it was Frank Reynolds, if I remember, who was the superintendent of the Olds factory while Zig was getting his start. He was so impressed with Mr. Reynolds, and of course Reynolds had worked with King before having his own Reynolds company and before working with Olds. And Zig in one place I read said King was making the best horn at that time, which would be, the mid to early 1900s. Great example here. And just wonderful. You hold this horn in your hand. What is it? It's 61 62 years old now, and you just wonder how many people have owned this thing, how many people have played it, how many hours has it been worked with. A little bit of wear here where you can feel just a little bit of graininess. I'm telling you, you get a good horn like this that's been played, and it still sounds fantastic to my ears. Hope it does to yours as well, minus the little snafus that we make. But just wonder, you know, how much time has been spent on this. Great piece of history, and a great player as well. Thanks as always for tuning in. Appreciate the comments. Hope things are going well with you. Take care of yourself in these COVID times, and take care of someone near you. Have a great day.